And nobody is literally ready for those imaginary costs to surely come into fruition, men. I'm telling you, if they want to trap as many human beings in as feasible earlier than Rome 2.0 seems, then that is what they'll provoke. It could be referred to as 1 million Bitcoin strategic reserve from Bitcoin Archive. It's happening. Okay, so Bitcoin Act of 2024, full ship, after which a senator says, an AC senator says, it is in the hopper. Do you notice what I'm speaking about, guys? Which is why I'm quite sure numerous humans will promote too early. Pennsylvania introduces bill to create Bitcoin strategic reserve, men. So ahead of Donald Trump's arrival in the White House, do not forget if Bitcoin does randomly and magically pass up to love 300, 500, 1 million bucks consistent with coin. Do you understand what that means for XRP? XRP in the hundreds of bucks. Ethereum, probably like, I don't know, 60, 70,000 guys. It's going to be loopy now. Pennsylvania has officially introduced a bill with the purpose to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve for the state. Oh, clearly. I'm telling you something is brewing, man, and the loopy part is we haven't visible anything because in state-of-the-art video we're seeing a few insane fee figures, guys, for Bitcoin. However, glaringly, if Bitcoin does upward thrust, well, it's like every other coin is liquidity bonded to Bitcoin, men. Which means the other cash will too. Now Trump's second time period is probable to introduce a strategic reserve for the crypto. Senator Cynthia previously cautioned that Trump should approve the legislation in the first 100 days of a 2D time period. Wow. That might suggest like in the first zone of 2025, men proper. Or at the least permits just say 2025. That's captivating the way it correlates with our timeline, right? This is why I accept as true with a whole lot of people get out too early, men, right? This is a humorous device. You men can do something. But my target here is once more the year 2026, okay? The narrative that they're the use of for this invoice, guys, is that Bitcoin to assist preserve preventing inflation and offer multiplied diversification past traditional reserves. This funny inflation narrative, guys, is a top-tier narrative, proper. Whoever made that, whoever got here up with that, guys, has to be is literally legendary proper, because it is the craziest narrative for why they may be going to pump Bitcoin to the crazy heights now. Galaxy Digital CEO says Bitcoin heads to 500K if the NEC creates a Bitcoin reserve, okay? Bitcoin reserve, and as a man that does a number of Bitcoin, I will no longer cry. If you notice me crying, there'll be crocodile tears. I assume Bitcoin heads to 500,000. Again, it's a whole exclusive paradigm because it forces each other, USA. And nations are already shopping for it. I've got a dear pal, the fellow that genuinely grew to become me directly to Bitcoin in 2013, who is in the Mideast right now. And he said he is in no way seen whatever, like he's convincing extra humans to buy Bitcoin within the 3 days he's been there than any time in his whole career, and they're huge pools of capital. And so we're seeing something globally when Trump encouraged in Nashville that he was going to be a crypto president, a Bitcoin president, and now he's the president. And let me let you know, different leaders heard that exactly. This is essentially a domino impact now. I want to factor. He that asserts, so whilst the authorities is printing as lots of cash, as I suggest the Bitcoin narrative, the simplest narrative definitely for Bitcoin is it's a tough asset in an international wherein you are going to debase fiat currencies, like it's the story overlook every other story, like literally. It really is proper. That's in which the arena is sending to, and you are going to use sure narratives to pump and trap the humans proper, and anybody will purchase a little bit of Bitcoin, guys. No, remember who it may be. I'm telling you, men, this is a few funny recommendation, but I'm going to buy Bitcoin while it is at, I said this for years when it's at minus 99, something percent from whenever the pinnacle does happen, men, proper. Well, the top is in minus 99%. That's what I'm shopping for no longer yet. There is a risk for us to visit these loopy fee predictions, men, along with 500,000, 1,000. 000. Why? Due to the fact international liquidity retests now send Bitcoin 200,000 with haste. So every time, so this discharge simply essentially indicates the M2 international liquidity index, guys. And what came about here is it broke out from resistance in every preceding cycle and held it as aid right. Flipped the resistance into guide and it just blasted through the roof. Same component here, men. Look at that, right? The same factor is going on presently right now. The subsequent essential step is right now as Bitcoin is at 90,000 and we have not even long past crazy like these beyond cycles, men, for the M cycles, men, for the M2. And what do you observe happens to Bitcoin when this seems? Right, while the M2 supply expands to the highest order, whilst this element is going like that, guys, Bitcoin's likely heading to loads of hundreds, if now not more. Ethereum really up like 30,000, right? 20,000, right? 20,000x. RP, my moon target is $9,100, men, this cycle. I, without a doubt, trust it's miles feasible, right? I absolutely consider it's viable, guys. Again, these are the narratives we're going to use. So we were given M2 supply expanding. Then what we need is tether to print. Okay, so that is narrative one. Here's narrative, guys. Narrative is tether marketplace cap goes higher. Bitcoin fee follows. Okay, it really is. Narrative three is most of these big gamers buying, along with Goldman Sachs. Just reveal owning over $710 million worth of Bitcoin through ETF institutional FOMO. Bitcoin FOMO is in the end right here. Now simply believe the supply shock, right? This is the one-third narrative, guys, is that those people are buying large amounts. Our wager has hit the 40 billion asset greenback mark, right, in a report, 211 days, men annihilating a preceding document of over 1,000 days, right. Look at that, the inflows for the EBITDA TFMEDs for Kamiabade Rends compared to these different ones. Are IBIT simply takes the cake. It's because of how an awful lot of interest there's from the public, from everyone, guys, to shop for and get in on Bitcoin, especially what is the older era, and those are the reasons perhaps we might also actually see, I do not know if you may see, this guy's, but Michael Saylor says Bitcoin goes to $13 million on CNBC. $13 million, and people are laughing at US calling XRP $589. Right, however, Bitcoin Max can say Bitcoin is going to above $10 million. Right, exactly. So there's, I do not know, is there a possibility, men? All I realize is the best factor that I should factor to is that I recognize that there's a fall apart. It truly is going to be incoming. Before these extremely good macro shifts, there needs to be amazing rallies beforehand, guys. I do not know about 13 million, but I do agree with in masses of lots of dollars for Bitcoin. But if we do see 13 million, we're seeing 100,000 excess on altcoins. That's it really is Bitcoin's 0.1% of the capital, inside the global proper now. I assume it'll visit 7% of the capital, 7%. My lengthy term forecast is it'll visit 13 million over 21 years, 13 million. What is it? He's speaking approximately 21 years, men. Okay, now that makes a lot extra feel, guys. Okay, I wager it is not too out of this international. I wager. 5 years from now, your 4-year calculus, you realize it has been growing 44% a year with approximately a 40 to 50 vol. I might suppose it's going to flow on at 40%, then click down to 35, then 35, then 30, then 25. And at some point, it is going to be the SP go back plus 8%, and it will likely be the SP vol plus 8%, as it's always going to be a greater international open, unfastened capital market. Could that rate goal be realistic? Well, Bitcoin is at 90,000 with simplest 0.5% of the arena, the use of it. I suggest, can the complete global use Bitcoin, guys? Is it even scalable? Global percent international populace using Bitcoin, and we are actually nowhere to be visible in comparison to all the way up there, the projection men, but something more sensible I could say is from ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood predicts Bitcoin will attain $1.5 million by 2030. Right? The most effective, tremendous component, approximately all these items, is that I'm really excited about, is that if Bitcoin does head toward those higher fees, through the manner, there may be going to be so much extra cash. So tons more money. It's going to be diabolical. They'll flow into L coins, men, right? We've just seen the past 1 to 2 weeks what befell with all cash when Bitcoin dominance went a touch bit decrease. Now, imagine Bitcoin at 300,000, 500,000, $1 million, a percent of Bitcoin drift flowing into other altcoins, guys. Nicely, you recognize what meaning. We have a 2030 target. In our base case, it's around $650,000. In our bull case, it is among $1 and $1.5 million. Now, don't forget, we have been the primary public asset supervisor to advantage exposure to Bitcoin in 2015 at $250. And we're still at $90,000. Assume we've got a protracted way to go. Why?